Welcome, future masters. King takes free bishop. Well, that's a checkmate. That's another whoops, checkmate. Pawn takes free bishop. How about rook check, followed by checkmate? How about corner mate? We're going to get this guy in the corner. Do you see how? I'll take the rook. Bump. And score. Rook checks. Bump. Score. How about knight checkmates? It's very good. That's checkmate. Queen checkmates here. It's not checkmate yet, but mere moments away. Queen, whoops, check, and mate. Whoops, check, check again. Actually, I should not have done that. It was too quick. I was gambling on it being too early for it to be complicated. Check, bump, and score. Oh, let's see. Remove the liability, which is the queen and the rook problem. So we exchange rook and queen for rook and queen, and then go knight takes free bishop. Oh, we have, Ooh, that's scary. Actually, queen to h4 threatens a checkmate. He plays h3, queen takes h3 because this g-pawn is pinned by the bishop. You see that? This is a smothered-ish mate. Man, well, it looks to me like it's just a simple rook to e3 and this guy's toast. That doesn't stop anything. Bump. I said bump and score. Hey. Let's look and see. What can we do? Rook takes bishop. No. Knight attacks rook. Then I'll take the bishop. Remove the liability. My knight being captured by the f pawn is a liability. D pawn's pinned. Not a problem, but this f pawn is a real pain. Rook takes free bishop. If you're going to say it like my father. Queen takes rook check. Goodbye, Charlie. Another classic. Bishop to a6, check. Okay. Queen takes a1, check. Queen takes other rook, check. Let me run around over here. He's going to play queen takes c6, forking my rook and bishop, but it doesn't matter. I've taken too much from him. This guy, I'm going to skewer his king and queen. Trade queens and cash this pawn. My king is in the square of his pawn. His king cannot be in the square of the b pawn. Because this is a 6 square. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And, whoa, wait a second. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, he'll be outside the square. I move, he's dust. Check. Takes with check. But like I said, this is a 6 square, and he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by 6. He's outside of the square. I move, he loses. Garry Kasparov could not have saved them. I don't know, man. Rook takes free rook. Check. What's the deal? Oh, look at this guy. Sonny. Rook takes bishop. King takes free rook. Okay. I can play bishop takes bishop, knight takes queen, bishop takes queen check, and then pawn takes knight. How does this grab you? Move is bishop takes queen check, pawn takes free knight. And I am up a bishop. Well, king to g2 loses. Queens. Bishop rook takes, pushes, and he goes rook to b8 and stops it. So the winning move is h7. Rook takes and winning. Uh-oh. You in trouble. Check. Rook takes bishop. Check. Decoys him to a checkmate square, and then I checkmate him. What do we do here? Queen. Queen check is pretty strong. Goes queen to h3, though. I don't like that move. Got to think about it for a second. Oh, he's going to checkmate me on b7. That freak. Yeah, this move is good because it thwarts his ability to attack and checkmate me. But I'm going to threaten to checkmate him with rook to e2 and then rook to h2. Queen checks, bishop, check and mate. Queen checks, check and mate. Rook, it's the same thing as before. Check, check, mate. Okay, how about queen takes check, king to e2. I have check here. And he's mated. Looks like he's mated to me. You're checkmated, my brother. Well, isn't this mating? Perhaps? Ugh, maybe. Dangerous stuff, actually. Queen. That's not good either. Well, if I go queen to c6 check, king to a5 is forced. And then queen to c5 doesn't really do anything. My other choice is queen a6 check, bishop to a5. Oh, and then queen to c6 is a nasty mate with a blockage by the bishop. White. I go here. The point is I'm going to head to c7. So I go here. He moves. I go here. He moves again to the 6th square. 7. He's going to go and play king e7, king c7. I'm going to leave. This is a draw if I stop the pawn with my king. The only winning chances are these. Negative. Queen takes pawn, check. No, you're not doing squat to me. How about queen to e7? Threatening a checkmate. Is there a better move? Probably the answer is no. He has no checks except for throwing his pieces away. I'm good with that. Okay. All right. Superstar, eat this. And he did, literally. Well, check. That's just mate. That was just mate, man. Okay. Well, he is threatening. This is my dad's rule. What's he trying to do to me? He is trying to... Ooh. He's trying to checkmate me. With queen to g5, check, king h8, rook takes f8 mate, okay? But I have queen to... Oh, no, I don't. I was thinking queen b6, but he has a rook there, so forget that garbage. Wowzers. I guess I do have queen takes... Situation is, I have two pieces for a rook. Well, that isn't going to do anything. Queen to e2 does literally nothing. I would like to play a good move here. Rook takes rook. Queen takes rook. You would get me still, that jerk. So that doesn't work. I don't know. Bishop takes rook. I mean, boy, am I dreaming. Bishop takes a2. The point behind... Oh, no. Queen takes a2, check. King takes knight. Queen takes b1. Whenever he checks me, I have queen to... If he wants to go queen to g5 check, queen to g6 stops that. Otherwise, he could take me. I move my king. I take his rook. Rook takes f8, king takes f8, and queen h8 does nothing. So, whoop-de-freaking do. All right. Now, what do we do here? What we do here is we're trying to zugzwang this black king or his pawn, because if the black king retreats, king g6, we win easily. If his black pawn on f6 moves, f5, king g5, we win easily, because we have... This is a case, I mentioned this in another video. In a case where the kings are in reasonably good contact to the pawns, and this is a reasonable case, the side with the outside pass pawn, the pawn the furthest away from the group of pawns, has the advantage. So white has the advantage. White can play king g4, king takes h6, and then king to f5. And he can play king to f7. All right? And once again, if you get a zugzwang, he's in bad shape. But we don't want to do that. We want to zugzwang this guy. So we literally have three things we can move. A, B, or C pawn. If we go, let's just go alphabetically. A, 5. If he takes it, A5. If he goes, B takes A5, we take it, and he goes C5, and there's no Zugzwang. We can't play A5. If we played B5, he could play A5, and again, there's no Zugzwang for us to wait. We have no waiting move. So if we play C5, then he could take us, B takes C, and then we could go, if we want to, we can go B5 and force a pass pawn, and we will queen and then be able to check him before he can do anything. So look at this, C5. If he wants to go B takes C, we go B5, A takes B, A5. He can go to C4, for example, A6, C3, A7, C2, queen. He makes a queen, and then we check him, queen F5, queen E4 check. He would go to whatever, king G8, queen to E8 is checkmate. All right, he gets force mated on C5, on B takes C5, we could force checkmate him. That was a what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 move combo. That's a 15 move checkmate. All right. So that's a 15 mover. So C5, B takes C is a loss for black. So if he goes B5, we play A takes B5, A takes B5, C6, voila, Zugzwang. So C5 captures wins for us, or C5 passes to B5 also wins for us. I've said it before. Dadgum battery died in my mouse. Okay, well, we'll just do it the old-fashioned way. Zugzwang. I am more than a master at king and pawn endgames. You lose. Zugzwang. So, welcome to advanced chess lessons. So, let me see this guy here. I don't know when it's done. It's got charge. So let's try this jerk. This one's got full charge. I'm replacing the mouse battery. Ugh. Luckily for me, I have a touchscreen computer, laptop. So that's how I completed that one. But that was a 15 move calculation. Now, king and pawn endgames, you can go 15 moves without having to be a super grandmaster, which is what I did, because I'm not close. How about check? That doesn't do much, right? That does very little. How about rook takes rook? Let's say bishop takes. Looks like a decent move. And then knight checks. Where are you going? Going to lose is where you're going. So rook takes rook. He takes it somehow. Knight H. Oh, that doesn't lose. He's got a dadgum queen to take it. You freak. Well, I can just take this then. Queen takes. Ooh, isn't that checkmate? Queen takes G3. Looks like checkmate to me. I don't know what I was thinking. Sometimes you get stuck in this puzzles and in the mentality of fancy moves. Checkmate. It happens, man. Doesn't matter. Queen takes knight and you lose. Change of powers. Our target. We change the powers of the target. That's what that means. Again, that's another phrase that I made up because no one says it that way, because that explains what's happening. You're changing the powers of the target, and then you're exploiting said target. Rook takes. Rook takes. That check does nothing. Rook takes. Queen to, yeah, this is it. Rook takes bishop, change of powers again. Rook takes queen to d4, pinning the rook to the king. He guards it, and then I take it. Absolute pin. Goodbye. Change of powers for a second time. Easy win. Wowzers. What do we have here? He's got no threat. How about knight takes knight? He's got no checks either. Well, you can throw away pieces, but that's not what I'm talking about. Knight takes knight. I mean, that just disrupts this guy. What does he do? Queen takes queen, knight takes queen, pawn takes knight. Knight takes knight. Queen takes queen. What does that do? Knight takes queen, pawn takes knight. I have nothing. That can't be right. I have knight takes bishop. Knight takes bishop, and also with knight to e6 would stop this knight from taking my queen, taking, and knight to d5 is not a threat here. I have knight to e6. I just take the bishop. You have nothing. Wow. Yes. Teach me a lesson and push me where I'd like to go anyway. Okay. Man, I don't like this. What did he take? A pawn? What a jerk. Well, I have to play pawn takes. I mean, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? Dude, this is nasty and a half. Oh, no it isn't. You lose, chump. Simplification combination. Oh, good grief, Charlie Brown. Do I have anything fancy? Check. Pawn takes rook. Oh, he cannot play pawn takes rook after check. He cannot take that because the queen pins the pawn. Holy moly. Do I have another check move? I do. Instead of my original idea was bishop goes back attacking the rook on d3 with check. And then bishop takes rook check is good. The other move I thought about was bishop f5 check with bishop to e6 check, but I think the bishop d3 is better. Bishop d3 check. King g8 forced. Well, yeah, it's forced. King g8 forced. Bishop takes rook check. Knight takes bishop. Queen takes knight check. And it's not mating, but whatever, dude. You're getting your clock cleaned. Well, maybe he's not actually. He's got a rook to f7, and then what do I do? That ain't that great. What kind of garbage is this? I'm not taking his rook. I'm going to check him with bishop to e6 check. And checkmate him, probably. Let's look at this again. Bishop d3 gets me an even game. Well, whatever. Bishop f5, check. King g8. Bishop to e6, check. Rook f7 is the only move. Or queen f7, which is even worse. So rook f7. Now I have... Good question, actually. Do I have this move? Oh, I could go check here. Rook to h8 check. King takes h8. Queen h3 check. King g8. What does this do? This does nothing. Alright, bishop f5, check. King g8, bishop e6, rook f7. What if we go, bishop takes f7, queen takes f7. That does nothing. I think the bishop on e6 is great, and then follow that maybe with rook to g6, keeping this pawn pin. If he wants to go king to f8, now maybe we're in business. Dude, this is the toughie. What is this? 2200. It's going to be 2200. Good question. Or bishop g6 check. Grasshopper. The move is not f5 or d3. It's g6 check. It's based on another combination that I know. So bishop g6 check, king g8, rook h8 check, king takes rook, queen h3 check, king g8, queen h7 checkmate. This is based off a different combo. Normally we have the queen and the bishop working on the diagonal from the queen going to h5, but this is the same type of combo but from a different piece configuration that I have never seen before. So I took one known combination, like when your queen's on h5, you go bishop takes check, bishop g6, and then queen h7 is mate. But this is the same type of combination, except I get there sideways instead of diagonally. So we go here, checkmate. Okay, that was fantastic. Ha, well, that doesn't work. I was thinking of e takes d5, but that does nothing. Does nothing but lose a piece. Dude, you're in bad shape. You are in bad shape. Dude, this is the combination that I did that on the trap video. Same basic thing. Knight captures e5. Gotta be careful. Knight takes e5. Watch this. I capture his knight on e5. He captures my queen. I go bishop to b5 check. He goes knight to d7 from f6 because the other knight's gone. I go bishop takes knight. Knight takes knight. No, bishop takes knight. Bishop takes knight check. Queen takes my bishop. Knight takes queen. And then I'm a piece up, and he's got to either remove his bishop or capture my knight, and then I'll capture his bishop. So this is a different trap. But it's based on the same trap that I showed you. It was a Queen's Gambit trap. His king has no space to go. He can't move. Crunch. So this is a problem, which is the reverse of the trap that I showed you guys if you were looking at my videos in the last, week. So that was a nice one. Okay, rook f2 forces. This is just completely dog meat. Rook f2 check forces king d1, and I made him in like 2 or 3 moves, whatever it is. You've got no place to go, dude. We go check here, and you'll see why in a second. It's bump and score. I bumped him with queen f4 check with the stacked pieces, and then scored. Oh, good grief, Charlie Brown. Well, better be careful. We have a double check, though, which is fantastic. We have rook 7, b7, double check. And then rook b, he goes king to c8. Rook to c7 is mate. If he goes king to a8, rook to b8, rook takes b8 is mate. So yes, this double check is mating. Checkmate on b8 it is. fantastic. Okay. We're getting close to my record of consecutive problems. Hikaru is in trouble. You know, his high score is 83, and I'm working on it. I'm just kidding, dude. He's too freaking good. He is too good. This dude is, he's a piece up on me, man. You got a lot of nerve. You jerk. Check. Check. Okay, what about bishop checks, king to here, and then a4. The brute force technique. Let me show you the brute force. The brute force will show us his escape route. I've already mentally done it, but I'm going to show you guys. So brute force says bishop c5 check, king a6, bishop f4 check, king h3, rook e3 check, king b5. He's escaping. My bishop is under attack. So his escape route is h3 and g4. So we hit him with bishop checks. This forces him to commit to h3, which is kind of a bad square for him. Then we hit him with a4. Where are you going? So he's now looking at either rook h1 check or rook to e3 check. You know, neither one of those looks too particularly awesome for him. Or check. It's okay, I guess. I have to checkmate him. I'm a piece down, man. I just can't sit here like a doofus. Bishop checks. So we've got to make sure he can't use rook. Yeah, I have to check him with the bishop to prevent him from playing rook to g1. What also helped is that the bishop diagonal check was not blockable. He had nothing to block it. So the question, f5 is a mistake. Knight takes f5. a4 is awesome because knight takes g6. Rook here is still not directly mating, but it's just outright winning. I don't think e3 is mating now because he's moving. But I check him here, he would be mated except for he can play rook here, and then I play rook takes check. Or I could play bishop checks. Nah, rook checks and then take his knight. Probably just good enough. But whatever. He's completely dust. Okay, what does that do? Check goes here, and I rook check, and I take the knight guarding my bishop. Saved myself on that one. Ooh, that was a closey. So, well, what do we have? 3 and 3. Okay, so we're all even. He's a pawn ahead. Well, sha-na-na. I have bishop to e5. The only way he can stop me from taking his rook, unless I'm just completely blind, is d4. When I would just play bishop takes d4, his pawn is pinned by my rook. So, and the other bishop guards b1. So I got 2 raking bishops on his rook after bishop to e5. Bishop takes free pawn. Well, it's not technically bishop takes free bishop. Queen checks might be nasty. Trying to figure out. Queen checks might be nasty. Hard to say if I should take the bishop first. I think I should queen check him. If I queen check him, king d1, bishop or queen into position is terrible. I would take, either one of those that gets interposed. So king d1, and then bishop takes bishop, queen takes bishop. I don't know. Good question. Rook to d1. Rook to d8 check. That's kind of nasty, right? Yeah, I don't want to take this and queen takes and check him because he'd have king to e2, and that's no good for me. I just take it and then play bishop takes free bishop. Sorry, dude. You lose. Well, that wasn't very fun. Well, that's a good question. I think the answer is fairly obvious. But let's look at this. King h2, daring him to take it. Rook takes, queen takes, rook takes. And what can he do? Queen and knight versus my rook. And one of my queens is going to get down here lickety-split, as they say. He is going to threaten to play knight here, followed by queen there. Knight checks. So the other question would be then king to h1. I'm not under check. What am I doing? Why am I worried about that? I'm not under check. I thought I was under check. Boy, am I hallucinating. Okay. Well, what if we sack a queen for that pawn on g7? He is threatening to play queen to f3 check. I'm just saying that's the possibility. So what about I'm thinking, queen to a1, threatening mate on g7 is very strong. Oh, geez. I have also queen on 8 to a7. Tying down defense to a g1 rook. So he can check me all he wants. I would just go back. Check. Rook takes. Check again. Rook to here. And you got freaking nothing, dude. Because I'd have queen to a1. Knight takes, rook does nothing. The problem with that he has is that if I go, it's either one of the. I think this move is really strong. Queen 8 to a7, double attacking g7, and also threatening his queen. So he can check me. I go here. And at this point, he only has check, takes, check, here, rook here, and I've got this diagonal covered with queen to g1 as a possible move if he could possibly even defend against the mate. There you go. I thought that is a terrible move. But whatever. I think that's the only move, right? This is the only, everything else loses outright. Queen to there loses. He's, I take this knight and he is just a rook down after queen to B2. I can't go king to H2. He'd go double check, and I'm mated. There you go. Queen takes knight is forced. There you go. No problem. I figured that was the case because they're not normally going to give you an extra queen, just unless it's to at some point strategically trade it off. If you get the extra queen, you're losing. You're either losing the queen or you're losing the game. So that's my philosophy. So this 48 is my new record of problems defeated without a mistake. So yay me, 2537 was the last problem. For those of you who may not know this, each problem is a rating evaluation, and each problem is higher than the one before it. So when I'm up to when I get to number 50, it'll be over 2600. And shortly thereafter, it'll be over 2800 in the 50s. But at some point, my Hikaru-like streak is going to fold Ola. Because there's no chance of me, matching or getting really close to Hikaru's 83, which I saw. It was pretty phenomenal, and he barely messed up. He was going to have 84, and he just slipped at the end, and it's like, oh, dude. It happens to everyone, including a super GM like Hikaru. He slipped up on like some 3000 whatever level, 3100 problem. It was some nasty problem, dude. And he saw the mistake as soon as it went X on him. He was like, oh. And he showed the solution, and it was like, damn, dude, that was awesome. It was awesome. He went, in a game, he's cashing that in the game. But when you're 83, 84, he had missed 2. So he had done 85 problems. And after you pass 50, it starts to be, a little bit of a strain. It's tougher than you think. Although I'm sure most of you would understand that this is pretty tough. I've been going at a pretty good rate as well, faster than 1 a minute. I'm thinking bishop takes g6. Pawn takes queen e6. And then I can win his queen. Or go queen to f7 and maybe cash that. I don't know. Depending. Queen, because I would go queen to e6 check, king h8. You just outright win his queen. Knight f7. King goes to g7. Knight takes queen, whatever, and I have, I've given a knight and rook for his queen, and that, with my bishop on b2, I'm probably going to win that knight and bishop for my bishop, so I'm cashing this in. No, I've already given, yeah. It's okay. Bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes. I just don't know if he's going to take me, but I'm going to take this. But other than that, I don't see anything. Knight e6. He could take me and I could check him, but he doesn't have to take me. And I don't think it's as good as bishop g6 threatens bishop f7. So that's a good question. I'm not sure. And if this isn't the right move, I have literally no concept of what the right move would be. Oh, really? Check. King to... Oh, whatever you do is stupid, right? If I queen check him on f7, king to here, Yeah, oh, queen checks f7, king h6, knight e6 with a mate threat on g7. Looks to be the winner. Here, if he goes here, actually king h8, that's not bad. I would just play knight again. Knight to e6 is what I would play. Threatening a mate, he'd have to defend it. He's dog meat. The knight e6 was the killer move. 49. I creep closer. Okay. Check. Look at this jerk. You gotta be careful. Check. Oh, he's got a queen? What a freak. Oh, brother, I'm in trouble. I'm telling you what. Well, as they say, in for a penny, in for a pound, which is British money. So it's like saying in for a penny, in for a dollar. Queen g3 check. King g1 is the only move he's got. Well, he's got king e2, but that's just hideous. Isn't it? Yeah, queen e3 is mating. So he's checkmated. So queen e3, queen g3 check, king g1, rook takes, king takes. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe I hate to say I have to draw this game. Queen g3 check is forced. I have no idea what the heck that's supposed to be about. Oh, idiot. Rook on the second rank check. Crud. I Hikaru'd that one. I knew exactly what I did when it X'd me. God dang it. Oh well. I just got Hikaru'd. You play the move that loses and realize you missed the move that won. Ugh. Okay, anyway. Well, now this is kind of interesting. Better fight a black squared bishop, I'll tell you that for sure. I was thinking of going queen e1 check. Queen e1, king h2, queen g3 check, and doing that. But that doesn't do anything. Nothing good anyway, let's put it that way. So, because I can't, only my queen can get his pawn. So, I have bishop to f5. Which, I don't know exactly what it's doing, but I have it. I have queen checks and bishop to f5. He cannot check me directly. And I would actually also have bishop f5. I have technically either queen e2 or queen e1 check and then queen e2, winning the knight. So I don't know how he's going to get out of this. He could go queen to h4 if I don't check him first. If I go bishop f5, queen h4 sidesteps, and I can't check him or go there. The point is, of queen e1 check, king h2, bishop f5, he cannot play queen h5 to get out of the attack because queen g3 check wins the knight anyway. So queen check is the right move. And now we skewer the bishop. We're threatening to play queen e2 or other assorted deviltry. Now that move loses, sir, as I pointed out before. Alright, this looks like a... Yeah, that sacrifice doesn't necessarily work because he could play queen takes. But what do we got here? 5 versus 5. So we can trade. He could trade 2 rooks, my 2 rooks, for his queen and a pawn. Rook takes, king takes, check. He could play queen takes rook. Or he could go king to wherever. But if he goes here to e8, I'd take him. He'd take check, and I'd win this. So, oh, wait a second. Or I would check him, actually. No, I would get him. He would lose, actually. Rook takes, king takes. Rook checks, king e6. King e6, I would think queen checks here. He can't go to e5, can he? Queen, king to e5, is that possible? I've got queen to take c7, check, double attacking the rook. So, man, I'm taking this dude. This is a destruction sacrifice. They're just calling my name. Oh, hell. Okay. Alright, this is a no problem. Look at this brute force. The brute force says rook d1, knight takes, rook takes, queen takes. We have nothing. But if we can remove one of the defenders of d1, surprise, surprise, we can. But can we do it with value? I think the answer is we might be able to. Because we have this checkmate combo. Bishop takes knight, queen takes bishop, check. King, where can my king go is the problem. Oh. Oh, I can play rook takes rook. Queen takes rook, bishop takes knight, and then rook to d1 is mate. So let's look at this. Rook takes rook, queen takes rook, bishop takes knight. He can't check my king because the bishop guards it. So he plays, I don't know, rook takes, whatever. It doesn't matter. Well, that's just checkmate, dude. You lose. How does that not win? What does he have? What does this guy have that doesn't lose? I don't know, man. Rook to e8. So what? My move also wins, dude. This is a queen up. Okay, what is my move? Bishop takes knight. Oh, it just wins a knight. He can play like g3 or whatever. This is winning. In the real world, bishop takes knight. He goes there, and then I just go back. I am winning. Maybe his is a little better. Rook to e8. This esoteric business, which is good. My move also wins, just not as fast as that one. So that's the tricks and the low kind of cheap shot stuff that they go for. They rob you. You play winning moves, but they have a move that wins better. It's still winning. If you find $1 on the street, does it mean you're not finding money, even though finding $100 is better? So, yeah, this one I don't know what the move was on this. I don't know. Let's find out what this one was. The check is killer. Go, queen to d5 check, probably. But that doesn't do much. e5? Whatever, bro. What is this doing? Oh, wins the queen. I missed that. Crud. Like I told you, When you do and you do 50, you know, you're going to miss things that you don't normally miss. And you just watched it happen. 50 is a terrific score. And you see why it's so tough to beat. 50 is my goal to beat. Yeah, I realize this check is the move. Because that check now is crushing. I Hikaru'd myself on that one. I recognized Rook C2 was the winning move. Just like he recognized the move that he missed was like C5. So, you know, that's funny. I mean, I made a move that was very similar, almost, you know, it was identical in the type of mistake that I made that he had made. But when you're so deep in these difficult problems, 26, 24, anything can happen. So I almost got this. You know, like Hikaru, I blew it a fraction of a second. It was a fraction of a second of realization. This one, I got there to the setup. Rook to E8 is absolutely crushing. And I normally see this. I've had this happen. I've mentioned this combo, this tactic of the X-ray to the mating square. Something I've done before. So should have got that one. Should have got the one where I Hikaru'd myself. He would love probably to hear that. Yes. Oh no, this is the same problem. This is the one. E5. Yeah, this one. Now this one, to be honest, I wasn't looking for this. I was worried. I was going for the king attack. I was tunnel vision on the king attack. So this one, I should not have missed this, but I did. And this is why I show this to you. This is the kind of mistake it does happen in tournaments. Now, it's much less likely in a tournament because you're focused on one game the whole time. So I made it here, and it does happen, no question. But in a tournament, it's much less likely that I would have missed E5 check because you're focused for so long in a tournament, you know, and you're winning, you're executing this combination. In a tournament, I wouldn't be 50 problems deep or 49 or 51 or whatever it is. So mentally, I would be fresher. So rook takes, you know, when you see this rook takes back here, realistically in a tournament game, you don't play rook takes d6 check unless you see e5. I'm just letting you know this is the mentality of a tournament player. These problems are, I know I'm winning, so you have a slight leeway a little bit, you know, and then, you know, 3 strikes and you're out. In a tournament game, 1 strike and you're out. One rook takes d6, that's no good. You're losing. Game over. Wait for the next round. So in a tournament game, no good player plays rook takes d6 check without knowing and seeing e5, because what I saw is correct in my mind in a tournament. I'm seeing rook takes d6, king takes d6, rook to d1. And then it's like, well, you know, he can trade his queen for the 2 rooks by taking this. In a tournament game, it's okay. You're not losing. You're not losing. You're just not winning this. So, kind of 50-50. I really don't think I would play rook takes d6. Well, I might not. But I did see that rook d1 can do no less than break even. Because I'm either checkmating this guy with this god-awful attack, or winning material is what I thought I was doing. So this would be either a draw or a win, depending, in a tournament. And it would depend on the situation. But usually you're not going to play rook takes d6 in a tournament game until you, without seeing, I'm going to take his pawn, king takes is forced, and I have e5 check, discovery attack on his queen. So I didn't see it here, So that's just all I can tell you. I missed it, and I didn't see it until I had to see the solution. I didn't even try. So I missed it. But in a tournament game, the scenario is slightly different. But the other two I should have gotten because I was on the path of correct victory. So, whatever. I got 50. I really should have had 52 plus continue forward. But, hey, I don't complain. 50 is a great score. So this has been an hour. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Like the video. Give me a comment. I'll see you guys later.